I do want to put this up on your screen. This just came in as breaking news as we were having that conversation about some of the ICE operations that are happening in Minnesota. The Associated Press putting this down a few moments ago. This is there saying that a person is now in critical condition after a shooting involved Border Patrol near the U.S.-Mexico border, according to those Arizona officials. Thank you so much to my producers for bringing me the very latest. I have something I want to read to you here from the Associated Press, saying there from their article that one person was shot and is in critical condition today in a shooting involving the Border Patrol near the U.S.-Mexico border. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said that it was working with the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Protection in response to the shooting there in the Arivaca community there in Arizona. It's a community about 10 miles there from the border. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and the FBI did not immediately respond to emails and telephone calls seeking any additional information, but the Santa Rita Fire District said that it responded to that shooting and the person who was wounded was in custody, saying that the patient care was transferred to a local medical helicopter for rapid transport to a regional trauma center. That's according to the fire district. And so once again, just coming down a few moments ago, Arizona Border Patrol is now reporting a shooting. That person is currently in critical condition. They've been critically injured, according to the Associated Press.
Border Patrol involved in Arizona shooting. One person injured, local authorities say. Under normal circumstances, a story like this wouldn't even be news. But given all of the madness of Minnesota that was created deliberately by Tim Walz, essentially giving a stand down order to local police to not intervene and do basic crowd control, and all of the craziness that's come with that, and all the shootings that have taken place in Minnesota, now stuff like this you're going to be seeing about and hearing about more often, when you normally would have never heard of anything concerning what's going on specifically at the border. Right now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to waste your time and go through this article right now. There isn't much information on it other than the fact that a shooting took place at the border in Arizona. So why are we talking about this right now? Because in Arizona, the Attorney General, Chris Mayers, is essentially setting the stage by dog whistling to make sure that the madness that we saw in Minnesota is child's play compared to the potential number of shootings that could be happening in Arizona. Because those of you who don't know, ICE is headed to Arizona. It appears that that's where their next big operation is going to be. Look at this clip here.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this.
So ICE is pulling up in Arizona to do the great work that we need them to do. But with that being said, let's get to Attorney General Chris Mayers and what she had to say. I'm going to play some of this for you guys. You let me know in the comment section below. Is this woman dog whistling? Because she sounds like she is dog whistling to me. Let me play this. Let's go.
The other thing I want to bring up with you that I'm worried about that makes Arizona very, very different from almost every other state where this buildup is happening, Bram, is that we're a stand your ground state. We have one of the most expansive stand your ground laws in the entire country that rivals even Florida. We also have a lot of guns in Arizona. We're a gun culture in this state. And, you know, it's kind of a recipe for disaster because you have these masked federal officers with very little identification, sometimes no identification, wearing plain clothes and masks. And we have a stand your ground law that says that if you reasonably believe that your life is in danger and you're in your house or your car or on your property, that you can defend yourself with lethal force.
I want to be careful
Yeah.
with that and understand
I
what
mean,
you're saying because you know how that could be interpreted.
Well,
Even he's like, are you stupid or are you dumb? Why would you say something like this publicly?
but it's the fact. It's the fact that we have a stand your ground law, and we have in other states ununiformed, masked people who can't be identified as police officers. That is a problem. That's why it's so important to have uniforms and to be identified, especially.
They do have uniforms. Understand, this woman is dog whistling. By throwing this out there, this is something that people weren't even thinking about. You have extremely 2A friendly states like Florida and Texas. Have you heard of anything of this nature happening in Florida and Texas concerning ICE operations? No, you have not. And they're operating the same way in every state. So understand, when she's doing something this dangerous by saying, well, we have some of the most liberal 2A laws in the country, more liberal than Texas when it comes to 2A rights. And I mean, you guys, they're wearing masks, they're plain clothes, and you don't know who they are. And basically, over here in Arizona, you can blow them away legally. That's what she's telling them. She's telling her population this quite literally. This is dog whistling. She's dog whistling under the guise of, hey, I'm just, letting you guys know this, so, we can all take precaution and just letting you reasonably know what could possibly happen. Nobody was thinking about that stuff until now. This is why stuff like what we see happen in Minnesota occur, because they dog whistle and they implant foolishness like this into the minds of the people that makes dumb liberal lunatics who just hate Trump with everything in their soul. They take this kind of nonsense in like it's the gospel, internalize it, and then reenact it in real life. And then when someone ends up getting hurt or losing their lives, now they're a victim. Oh my God, look at Trump's mass deportation effort. ICE, these people are monsters. No. How come you don't see this stuff happening in Florida and Texas? Despite the fact that Florida and Texas hold the record, number one and number two, for the highest number of arrests and deportations. There are more arrests and deportations happening in Texas and in Florida, which are 2A friendly states. Yet you don't see anything of this nature of what she's talking about happening. Why? Because the local officials, elected officials in those states don't get out in front of cameras and speak nonsense like this and gas the ignorant portion of their population up to go out and do dumb things that will lead them to lose their lives. You cannot despise liberals enough, ladies and gentlemen. You really can't despise them enough.